Join us for Adventure Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep. This is the first sheep we saw of the day. A little too far away to tell what was going on, and that day we learned how to score sheep based on length, distance, and mass. Here's another set of sheep we saw across the canyon. You can see the ram coming down into the herd. And about 9 ewes there, and so they move across the hillside. And as I zoom out to 12 power, you can see just how far away they really were. And if a person didn't have a scope or binoculars, how would you tell them from shrubs or rocks? But fortunately, not all the sheep we saw that day were that far away. So here, about in the middle left of the screen, you'll see a brown rock. To the right of that brown rock looks like a white rock. That white rock turns out to be the behind of 2 rams. And you'll see a herd of a herd of sheep coming down that road. There towards the center of the screen, you see those 2 white behinds moved now. So you should be able to identify them. And soon some young sheep will come bounding across that hillside, just living their carefree life. Now, just creeping down that road, at the very back, you'll see another large ram with his dark body, much darker than the ewes he's following. You know, National Geographic and Marty Stauffer's Wild America have nothing to fear based on my camera skills. I am not after anybody's videographer job. Altogether on this trip, we maybe spent 2 hours sitting on this hilltop watching this herd of sheep. See those two rams whose behinds we just saw have turned around, and one was walking away, and here they are in closer view. See, the front one doesn't have a very tight curl, but that second one, his horn curls up near his eye, almost making a full curl. He's going to lie down here for a rest. We'll check back on him later. Remember, he's now to the left of the brown rock. One of the other rams has decided to head down this hill. And walk down this road. This is a good time as he comes straight at us to look at his horns from side to side, check for symmetry, that kind of thing. A ram still there to the left of the brown rock. Some traffic going by him. You see there's a ewe there, and then about the middle of the screen, gonna head down the hill with a blue collar. I believe of all the sheep we saw this day, about 1 in 15, maybe 1 in 12 was wearing a collar. Gives wildlife managers a chance to track them, to know where they are and their behaviors and habits. Just under where we had planted ourselves, down that road, were more sheep that we couldn't see without standing up. And of course, we didn't want to stand up and frighten the other sheep, so that was your one shot of them. I don't know what happened there. Your guess is as good as mine. There's a shelf up there. Behind that tree, you see a ram and a ewe. The ewe's lying down. There's another ram behind the tree to the left. Well, checking back on this ram. Looks like you might still be there. Anybody on the road? You can see he's fairly wide set. And here's the other guy. You know, from a distance, he looks pretty massive at the base. Also kind of wide. But definitely not a full curl. You know, I have to admit I was hoping for more aggressive behavior between the males. Maybe we could see, you know, them butting heads. But I think it was a little too early in the season for that. Our guy by the brown rock is still there. He's behind that U. And you'll see a U there with a red collar. Think he might notice we're there? There's a good time to pause the video and look at him. He doesn't seem to mind these U's walk right by him. There's a still frame of him. You can see in his horns these different bands where you might measure the mass. There comes another guy past him. His curl comes almost to his eye. The video of a sheep eating, slightly less interesting than watching it live. I probably could have sat there till dark just watching them eat and enjoying it. Sometimes filming feels like a game of Where's Waldo? The people I'm with are looking through scope and with their eye, and I'm looking through my phone at this little circle. There's a good still frame. You can kind of tell what he looks like. Oh, where'd our guy at the Brown Rock go? Is he still there? Or is that him? I think he has his tail sticking up. Looks like the tips of his horns are in closer to his face than of the previous rams we've looked at today. Being a rookie to the scoring of rams, I'm not sure which is more preferable. But I do think you'd want the horns to go down a little further past his jaw. Can you see the top of his left horn has a gash in it? I don't know if gash is the right word. A dent, maybe. A chunk missing. Here's a video from when they were a little bit closer. You can see a couple black lines. I think that's where you would measure mass. Has something to do with maybe how old they are. If you know the answer to that, would you please comment below what those black lines in their horns mean, please? Of course, the angle of your picture matters too, whether it looks like he's a full curl or not. So I've read a way to help you tell the mass of the horn is how much gap is between the horn and their ear. So he may have small ears, or his horns are really wide, and he does have a small gap above his ear. Clearly he knew we were there, but I don't think it bothered him much. Now that looks closer to a full curl. Well, he's got his tail up again. If you've done research on sheep and you know what that behavior stands for, please comment below with that information for all of us. He's going to make his way across the field towards us. Well, it's more of a draw than a field. There doesn't appear to be a whole lot different between those two ram. You know, their body looks of similar size and color and form. Here's video when the sheep had moved in and were maybe about 75 yards away. There's a bigger ram coming in on the smaller one. Though the smaller ram isn't small. But that other ram, he stood there and watched us a good long while that day. He'd move around a little bit and check again where we were. Of course, this gives you a good chance to do the ear test with him too. Decide if he's more massive than the last one. I think this was my favorite ram of the day, but the ram in the foreground has potential in the next couple of years. He thickens up. He's got good length. Here before too long, we're going to decide to leave and not disturb this herd any longer and let them just be in their natural habitat, doing their natural thing. And to not get spooked and run around and waste energy. This was a wonderful experience, and I sure hope I have the opportunity to see something like this again in the future. I hope that you also have an opportunity to see something like this in the future and can watch animals do what they do. If it wasn't for the ram in the foreground moving, you'd think that was a still shot. I didn't time it, but it felt like he watched us for 3 whole minutes. Yeah, he hasn't moved. He would easily win a staring contest. As we make our way out of here, we'll come across another group of 5 sheep, and the one pictured next, just sitting there, laying down, enjoying the world. It's at a bad angle to try to see how his horns might be. And so what equipment did we use? We used my Leupold scope that looks just like this, and the phone scope to attach my Galaxy Samsung S8. I hope you liked this video. Please share it if you feel like you should or you'd like to. If you like content like this, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.